So looking at number 1, solve 9y squared minus 12y plus 4 equals 0. So I have another alert system, and it is telling me that this is a perfect square and this is a perfect square. This is the same as 3y squared, and this is 2 squared. So using my special pattern, I should have 3y minus in the middle, minus 2 squared equals 0. How do we solve this? Well, what's the opposite of squaring a quantity? Square rooting. So I'm square rooting both sides, and I have 3y minus 2 equals 0. So I'll add 2, 3y equals 2, divided by 3, y is equal to 2/3. Not bad. Next, well, this one looks a little bit funky. So what we're going to need to do first is get everything on one side. And this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to minus x squared, and I have negative x squared plus 3x minus 6 equals negative 10. Not done. I said everything on one side, so we need to add 10 and add 10. So I have negative x squared plus 3x plus 4 equals 0. There is a point for me doing it this way, I promise you. It's because some of your homework problems will look like this when you start off with factoring them, and I don't want you to get stuck because the factor box does not actually work out if the leading coefficient is a negative. So what do? Well, I'm going to factor out negative 1, and all that's going to do is change all the signs, because the negative divided by negative is positive x squared minus 3x minus 4. This negative 1 kind of changed the game for me because now I can use my factor box. And by me, I mean you can use yours by putting the first term in the first box and the last term in the last box. You're looking for two numbers that will multiply to give you negative 4x squared and that will add to give you negative 3x. What would they be? Negative 4x and x, I'm thinking. Because negative 4 times 1 is negative 4. Negative 4 plus 1 is negative 3. So negative 4x and x. Factoring using my factor box, these two have an x in common. These two have a negative 4. Negative because the sign closest to the edge is negative. These two have an x in common. And these don't have anything but a 1 in common. So this is negative 1 times x minus 4 times x plus 1 is equal to 0. Now, about this negative sign. If all you were doing was factoring, this would be your final answer right here, and you'd be done. But because you're solving, you now need to get rid of this negative 1. So because it's multiplying, I'm going to have you divide both sides by negative 1, and you have x minus 4 times x plus 1 is equal to 0. Now, set each quantity equal to 0 and solve. So x minus 4 equals 0, x plus 1 equals 0, and then you can solve by adding 4, of course. And you get x equals 4. And for your other one, minus 1, negative 1. Those are your two answers. Do not ever, ever, ever write them as a coordinate. Two separate things, x equals 4 and negative 1. All right, so for this one, you do have to do a little bit of manipulation. So go ahead and subtract 5 and subtract 5, and you get 3x squared plus 14x minus 5 is equal to 0. Press pause and then factor, and then when you're done factoring, go ahead and check your answer. Okay, so I get 3x minus 1 times x plus 5, and then to solve, the only new thing we're doing for this section is 3x minus 1 equals 0, and x plus 5 equals 0. Then solve each one, and then you can go ahead and press pause if you want to, and show your work, but you will get x is equal to 1/3 and negative 5. Okay, my doot-doots are going off again. Doot-doot-doot-doot-doot-doot-doot-doot-doot, because I'm looking at these two terms, and they both have something in common. A couple things, actually. 4 and 64. What goes in both of those? 4. And then u cubed and u. This is like u, because there's 3 of them. And this one just has a u. So the maximum I can take out of both of them is just a u. U. What's left? Well, the 4 was gone here, so I have u, so u squared minus 4 goes into 64 16 times. This is a wonderfully special product. So you're going to have 4u times u plus 4 times u minus 4. Last step. Now here's the thing. This is not like the -1 on the other problem. The reason why is because it has a variable attached to it. So you'll never divide by a variable, but because it does have this variable, this will get its own equation. So 4u equals 0, u plus 4 equals 0, and u minus 4 equals 0. And then you'll solve each of these equations one by one. Dividing both sides by 4, you get u equals 0, minus 4 and minus 4, negative 4 for this equation. And then when you add 4, you'll get 4 for your last equation. Box it up, and there you go. Okay, word problem, because I know how much you love them. Area word problem. A painter is making a rectangular canvas for her next painting. She wants the length of the canvas to be 4 feet more than twice the width of the canvas. I don't know why, but that's what she wants. The area of the canvas must be 30 square feet. What should the dimensions of the canvas be? So here's what you do know. You do know that the area is equal to the length times the width. And you also know a couple other things in here. You know that the length of the canvas is to be 4 feet more than twice the width. Well, it doesn't give us any information about the width, so that's just going to be my W. And we'll know that L is equal to the expression for this, 4 more than twice the width. So that's twice the width plus 4, because it's 4 more than that. So that's my length. My width is just W, because we don't know about that. But we also know that the area is going to be 30 feet squared. I have everything I need in order to plug it into that formula. So area 30 equals the length, which is 2W plus 4, times the width, which we don't know, which is just W. Let's simplify the right side, and then we'll see what we have. So 30 is equal to W times 2W is 2W squared, W times 4 plus 4W. Remember, we need to get everything on one side before we can even attempt to solve or factor. So I'm subtracting 30 on both sides, and I get 0 is equal to 2W squared plus 4W minus 30. Then your alert system is going off as it is in my head, and you know that there is a common factor here of 2. So you have 2 times W squared plus 2W minus 15. You can pause and use a wonderful handy dandy factor box. And when you do, you get W minus 3 times W plus 5. How important is this 2? Not at all, because it doesn't have a variable. So I'm going to divide it out. And then these cancel. And so I have 0 is equal to W minus 3 times W plus 5. You'll set each factor equal to 0. And so you'll have W equals 3 and W equals negative 5. One of these answers is just not going to happen. It's the negative 5, because you can't have a negative 5 length. Not going to happen. So this width is going to be 3 feet. Delightful. What about the length, though? Because they wanted me to find the dimensions of it. So that means the length and the width. Well, you have this equation here. It's 2 times 3 plus 4. 2 times 3 is 6 plus 4, 10 feet. So the dimensions are the length is 10 feet and your width is 3 feet. How do I know I'm right? Well, 10 times 3, that gives me my original 30 feet squared for my area. And there you have it. Thank you so much, and we'll see you in class.